The Washington Post writes that the main result of the first round of presidential elections in Ukraine became a resurgence of ethnic electoral differences that caused a division of the country and led to the annexation of Crimea, the conflict in the Donbas. The East and South have traditionally voted for pro-Russian candidates, and the West for pro-European. It seemed that in 2014, Poroshenko has managed to break with this tradition. The incumbent president won in almost all regions. However, continues the Washington Post, the results of the first round of elections show that it did not happen as thought. The East and South by a wide margin supported Zelensky, obviously the most pro-Russian of the major candidates. Showman openly opposed the ban on entry for Russian artists and against the ban of Russian films and TV series. Until last year, Zelensky performed solely in Russian, and recognized that Crimea will remain Russian, while the power remains with Putin. In case of victory, says the publication, before Zelensky will rise, extremely difficult task, because his Russian-speaking fans want peace with Russia against the wishes of Ukrainian opponents. The sad reality is that Ukraine actually consists of two nations that are trapped within the country, and is bordered by the dominant power in the region, which is very much committed to one of these nations dominated, writes the Washington Post predicts that regardless of who wins the presidential race, is incredibly difficult challenge will be combining essentially fragmented country. Foreign Affairs writes that Zelensky and his team are working on a 100-day plan. In particular, help Showman two former Ukrainian minister Alexander Daniluk and Avaras Abramavicius. The first priority would be to tackle the problem of corruption. It starts with cleaning in the judicial system and the independence of anti-corruption institutions, said Daniluk. The former minister added that cooperation with the IMF will continue, because it is extremely important due to the fact that this year it will be necessary to return the loans, who took over the presidency of Viktor Yanukovych. However, Daniluk continues, victory in the presidential election itself will not be sufficient to achieve real results. Party Zelensky, servant of the people, also needs to win the elections to the Verkhovna Rada in October to bring to power the government of reformers. Then, said Daniluk, Zelensky will be able to fulfill its economic agenda, which consists of the division of monopolies, the privatization of approximately 3350 state enterprises, deregulation of industry and the reform of the land market, labor legislation and the tax code, writes the edition. The result of the parliamentary elections together with the presidential will demonstrate how serious is the Ukraine's desire to leave behind a system that enriches the elites and brings poverty to the rest, writes Foreign Affairs. Company representative Alex Apathy suggested that the popularity of the name Elizabeth is related to the fact that the Duchess could give birth on April 21, the birthday of Queen Elizabeth I. It is no coincidence that customers who believe that another child in the royal family to be born on the Queen's birthday, expect Harry and Meghan will choose the Elizabeth on the personal front, says Apathy. Interestingly, among the bets with the smallest odds of winning featured political figures and current events. In particular, bets on the names Barack and Theresa have a ratio of 100 to 1, 250 to Donald Friend, and putting £1 on the exotic Brexit, you can win from 500, writes the Huffington Post. In particular, 3 companies have guessed the name of the firstborn of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge 2013, betting on George was taken to be 3 to 1. At the same time, the name of the brother of George, Louis, was not the first in the favorites list, adds the Huffington Post. Portuguese researchers believe that this effect is due to the fact that dark chocolate is much more potent antioxidant flavonols, writes the edition. Half of the subjects consumed the chocolate with 55% cocoa content, and the second with 90% content. In addition, they were forbidden to eat food rich in flavanol. 30 days prior to the experiment and 2 days after the participants checked the heart rate, pulse, and rigidity of the artery. The results, published in the Journal of Nutrition, showed that all participants significantly improved their blood pressure, but the consequences for the group that consumed chocolate with a high cocoa content was much better, writes the edition.